Here's my exact 7-step sales playbook so that you can be 1000% prepared for your next sales call. And I bet you've never heard of step 6. Hi, I'm Anthony, the #1 mentor for AI voice agents. Hit that like and subscribe button right now for more in-depth tutorials just like this. Now, the way I like to start with this is basically explain to you the theory as to why this is in fact the best sales structure for your AI voice agent sales call. Now, the first thing that we like to pay attention to is basically you're not a salesman, you're a sales consultant. And so basically the point here is we're basically going to be like a doctor or an expert who's going to listen to basically the problems of that business and then prescribe to them the perfect solution to that problem. And in order to make sure that we're getting the highest ROI, return on investment, per unit of time, we're going to do it as time efficiently as possible and as cost efficiently as possible. Now, the only way to do that is basically listen to their exact problem, give them their exact solution, and do it as quickly as possible. In order to do it as quickly as possible, I like to limit meetings to 15 minutes. A lot of people like to do it in 30 minutes. If you can do two 15-minute calls in 30 minutes, you're literally doing twice the amount of volume that other people are doing. So I found that 15 minutes is the sweet spot for these calls. Now, the next point is basically leading with the diagnosis, not the demo. It's kind of similar to what I was saying earlier, where our goal is basically not show how flashy and how amazing our AI voice agents are, although they are. But the problem is our clients don't care about that. The only thing they care about is, hey, we have a problem in our business and we need to solve it for us right now. And so basically you're going to ask them something like, okay, well, what motivated you to call in today? And basically ask for AI voice agent solutions right now in your business. And they're going to say something like, well, last week we implemented Facebook ads and now we have thousands of leads that we can't follow up on. So we need somebody to fix that for us. And you're going to be like, yeah, we definitely have that solution for you. And we're going to tell you about it right now. And when you do end up telling them about your solution, you're going to frame it as an investment, not a cost. Because if you say something like, yeah, we can do that for you, but it's going to cost you $2,000. The last thing that they're going to remember is that they're going to be paying. They're going to like, wow, we have to pay $2,000 to maybe get something out of it, right? But if you say something like, yeah, so for just $2,000 a month, I'm going to help you recapture about $10,000 a month in lost revenue from these leads that you can't follow up on. So immediately they're not going to see $2,000. You're going to see 10,000 minus 2,000, which is 8,000. They're going to be like, wow, if I work with this person, I'm going to make an additional $8,000 a month. So to them, that's going to be a completely no-brainer. So now that we understand the theory as to why this is the ideal sales call structure, let's go ahead and get into the actual sales playbook that I use for my agency. So the first thing that we're going to do is get some client intelligence. This basically just means client research. So when they book that appointment with you in your Calendly calendar, they're going to send you an automatic email basically saying, okay, well, this is the person's name, this is their website, things like that. So just plug that into an AI like ChatGPT or something and just ask them for this information. And it's going to give you their name, company, their role. It's like CEO or something like that. And the key insights basically is just a one-line summary of why they're probably calling you. So it just gives you an idea of what they're probably going to ask you later on in the call, which is really nice. Now, step 2, we're going to do a quick opening. And the point of this is basically to set the agenda and just show that you're in control of the conversation, because you don't want to jump on the call and just basically be staring at each other. So go ahead and say something like, hey, thanks for setting aside the time. So I just want to ask about, why you wanted to book the call today and why right now is the perfect time for you to actually get started with the solution. Then we can see if we have the right solution for you. Does that sound good? Obviously that sounds good. So they're going to say yes. After that, depending on how much they tell you, you might have to basically babysit them and ask them like things like, okay, well, yeah, so just tell me what you're working on, and also what's the biggest problem that you're having in your company so far. And basically from that, they're going to tell you what their problem is, and then you can use that later in step 4, which is basically mapping their problem to a solution that you provide. Now, personally, I just provide an outbound. I provide an outbound, inbound, and both as my 3 options, and these are my prices. But you can change this to whatever you want depending on your needs. But the point of this, as I was saying earlier, is let's say that their problem is they need help with making outbound calls in order to follow up on basically leads that are coming in but aren't getting touched. So then for me, I would say something like, okay, yeah, thanks for sharing that. So based on what you described, it sounds like you need for us to basically build an outbound caller for you to follow up on leads that are currently getting missed. Does that sound correct? And obviously that sounds correct. So they say something like, okay, well, yeah, but we actually have that solution for you. We can build you an outbound agent that proactively follows up on your leads, and it's going to be $1,500 a month, which is way less than what you would pay for an in-house sales development representative. And again, that's just another way to anchor the price to something that's more expensive to make it feel like it's much more affordable, which it is. And finally, we're just going to say one like short sentence, basically in using plain English that allows them to see the return on investment. So you say something like, yeah, so basically the point of this is that we're going to handle all of your lead follow-up so that you can focus on your business. How does that sound? And obviously it's going to sound great to them. So now again, sometimes if their budget's not as high, they might say something like, okay, well, yeah, I wasn't expected to pay $1,500. I was more expected to pay like $1,000. They can be like, okay, perfect. Well, we have a solution for you. It's going to be the inbound agent. You can just get started for just $500 a month. And then once you see how much return on investment that can give you, you can always upgrade later on to the exact outbound caller that you were looking for. And they're going to be like, okay, well, yeah, that sounds great, because we just want to test it out. We want to see what's capable of doing before we actually pay the full price. And then if they ask a question that you're not sure how to answer, just go ahead and say, yeah, we can definitely get that figured out for you during the onboarding call. And the onboarding call is basically a 30-minute call that you'll do after the initial call, which is this one. And the point of that is basically that's when you're going to show them the demo that you built for them, and also go over the AI voice agent script, which is basically what the AI voice agent is going to say, so that you're both in agreement of exactly what it's going to say on every single call. And then once that's all done, basically they're going to agree, and you say, perfect. So I'm going to get you started right now. And I'm going to send you that link to the Stripe payment. So personally, I use Stripe. You can use whatever you want, but just replace these with your links to your subscription. So that's really easy. You can just copy and paste and then send it to them in the chat feature of your Zoom call or whatever program you decide to use for your calls. And then also send them the service agreement. And so basically the point of that is basically get them moving on immediately. You don't want to do this after the call, because there's a 90% chance that they're not going to end up moving forward if you actually don't close them on this call immediately. So what you want to do is set up a client agreement template. And basically what that'll do is all you need to do is pass in their name and then the service that they're applying for. And then just put that into ChatGPT or something, and it'll write that completely for you. And just download that and then send that over to the client as soon as they pay, or even before they pay. It doesn't really matter. And the point of that is just like I was saying earlier, just close the sale. Just make the sale immediately, because they can always cancel later. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to hang up the phone and then give them a chance to basically think about it, because like I said, there's a 90% chance that they're not going to get back to you. And like I said, this is not the point of this is not sell them something that they don't want. This is something that they immediately need, because we already listened to what they needed. We're just trying to help them. We're just trying to guide them and give them what's best for their business. And another thing, sometimes they might ask for you to show them a demo. So it's nice if you build some inbound or outbound demos, just to have that ready here so that you can show them, so that you basically have a portfolio to show that you're capable of fulfilling exactly what it is that they need. And so that basically concludes the 7-step sales playbook that I use in my exact agency. And if you want to get this document, go ahead and go over to my school community, click on YouTube prompts and templates. I'm going to create a post and just upload the file, and just click on that and hit download to get that. And also, if you have any questions, go to the community discussion tab where you can ask any question, and I'll get you that answer within 24 hours, usually a lot less, but whatever. And so if you enjoyed that, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.